one of the things that that Ruthie shared with me, and again, she was born in Maui. She's Chinese Hawaiian. And she said one of the things that's wonderful is that the luau foods have never changed over the years. It's always this pit roasted emu, smoked pig, Kalua pork, and then poi, which I happen to love.
I love it. I
Oh,
love
we
it.
should have some poi together.
I know.
And
I'll
then
buy some.
and then lau laus, which I love. Kind of fish or meat wrapped in tea leaves and kind of like a Hawaiian version of a tamale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Cooked in a very similar way.
yeah. Steam it.
Yeah, yeah. And usually I think there's some
Lomi
potatoes.
salmon.
Lomi salmon.
And sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And white rice.
Yeah.
White sticky rice. And isn't that right?
That's pretty much
And
it. Well, and always the haupia pudding.
Yes, yeah.
Haupia is one of my favorite things. And when I get to Hawaii, I always buy some of my favorite foods that you can't get anywhere else. And haupia ice cream is one of those. That and poke, which comes in many flavors now. You can go to a certain grocery store or go to a little liquor store that I know of up on the hill, Tamura's, and buy the best poke, which is raw fish, usually ahi, that then has been marinating in soy sauce, and then a variety of other things like onions and avocado and fish roe and different depending on what type you're making. Yeah.
There is one of the poke. It is like the Hawaiian style. Maybe that's what some people refer to it as. But it's been seasoned with kukui nut, which when one of my friends, her son joined the Coast Guard, and then he was stationed in Alaska, he would always have her send that kukui nut powder because he could sashimi, any of the fish up in Alaska, but he needed that powder.
He needed that.
And it really does enhance. It's kind of like an MSG. It almost enhances
a flavor enhancer.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes Hawaiian style, they'll have some seaweed in it, which I particularly love.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we were talking about Christmas. So in Hawaii, by the time this is the next to the last time zone in the world. There is an island, I think, called Baker Island, which I've never heard of, that is the last time zone. So by the time Santa gets here, he has been all over the world and exhausted, but he's also been wearing really warm clothing for snow and mountains. And so just before he arrives, he like Superman, he goes and he loses his snowsuit and he puts on swimsuit and an aloha shirt and slippers, which are slippers is we call them flip-flops in the mainland.
Right.
And so that's what he's wearing, and his shirt is always open, so you can see his round belly.
Yeah.
And but he still wears a Santa hat.
Yeah.
And he arrives in an outrigger canoe.
Yeah.
Laden with gifts, and being pulled not by reindeer, but being pulled by dolphins.
For which you do have video.
Yes, I found a display like this, and sometimes though I've seen on cards or other images Santa not with an outrigger canoe, but he's riding a surfboard. It's the same kind of thing. He's being pulled by the dolphins and has a sack of presents over his shoulder, and then And then once he arrives, most of the homes in Hawaii as a tropical area don't have uh, chimneys or fireplaces,
No need.
and so Santa has can't enter that way. And so my daughter Holly says that who lived in Manoa for a few years, she said that Santa comes in through the back door. That people leave the back door of their house open, and that Santa very politely, which is a Hawaiian tradition, um, takes off his flip flops, leaves them at the door, goes inside, and the stockings are right there, not that far from the back door.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I better secure the back door in addition to the fireplace.
Well, Cindy, yeah, you have a fireplace because you live up on the hills, and sometimes it gets a little bit cold here.
It does.
So
Yeah.
Hawaii has many different climatic zones. It's just a matter of elevation. So down by the beach, it's really warm, and then the higher you go up the mountainside, which at one time or another, all the hills and mountains were volcanoes, and you go up the side, and it gets cooler and cooler.
It gets down to about 60, which is freezing cold.
When you're not used
in
to
Hawaii.
it.
When you have no blood, because you've lived right in the sun for way too long. But it's also thrilling because for maybe 13 days out of the year, you can wrap up in a really cozy sweater or throw blanket. You can wear really warm fuzzy socks. You can actually wear flannel pajamas, but only for 13 days. And then back to the spas. One more thing about the food. Manapua. Do you remember eating those too?
Yes.
And that is Chinese, the steamed buns, and then inside it's usually the pork. So delicious. So that may not make it onto a luau table, but it does figure prominently into some the food selection in around Christmas time for Chinese or Chinese / Hawaiian families.
Well, we were talking about how people, depending on where they're from, bring their own favorite foods with them.
Sure.
And so if you were Italian in the mainland, you'd be having raviolis maybe for Christmas time.
Absolutely.
And people who are from Mexico, where I live in the Napa Valley, will be having, for sure, they will get together and with their family will make tamales.
Absolutely.
So here, people in Hawaii either come from the mainland or they have come from Japan, China,
Philippines.
The Philippines, and more traditionally, I'm blinking on it, Portugal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many, some of the earlier sailors and ships, trading ships, came to the islands from Portugal, and a number of people stayed.
Yeah, jumped ship and just swim with it.
And in fact, the guitar was it brought by the Portuguese or by the Spanish?
Like the steel string, right? The steel string guitar.
Regular guitar.
It was, I think, the Spanish.
I think it was Spanish.
Yeah. Which is, so the paniolos that also have the guitar. Yeah.
Paniolo is a Hawaiian name for cowboy. So in Hawaii, people will throw in some Hawaiian words together with English words. And so paniola is
right, is a cowboy. And for right now, because I think that you can probably watch on YouTube, or maybe there's going to be some Hawaiian Christmas specials, but that is what you miss the most, is not being able to go and listen to, the incredible Hawaiian music, or the steel string guitar, or the ukulele. Because you would hear that in restaurants, or you would go to
A concert.
a concert, exactly.
Yeah.
Concert,
Yeah.
concert.
Yeah.
And then, of course, one of the most beloved and one of the most outrageously genius talents globally. A local boy, Willie K. He passed away this year, and so I think on television, a number of his friends, and he was beloved. He was just beloved, but he had this extraordinary talent.
I remember him as playing at Duke's quite a bit, and he was a very humble person and friendly. And I remember having conversation with him, and so he didn't act like a big star or a big deal. He was just himself, and his music was wonderful.
And he had an operatic voice, and he could play. In fact, and then he would travel around the world. He was in Spain. He played and sang with. Well, I don't know if it was Pavarotti, but it was with one of the very famous opera singers. But he could play anything on his ukulele or his steel string guitar or his guitar. He could play flamenco. But anyways, there is going to be a beautiful special on television for Willie K. and someone making a pitch. Oops, making a pitch for him.
You were saying earlier that you were going to miss seeing a Christmas play over at the little Catholic church in Lahaina.
The 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, and that is something that all of the schools, they'll put on their Christmas program. And this just happened to be one of the programs that when my daughter was growing up, going to a little Catholic school in Lahaina, they did the 12 Days of Christmas. My tutu gave to me. I think that they did that every other year. And it was so adorable. Okay, so, and then Bonnie, she has the Pidgin version of the 12 Days of Christmas.
So Christmas.
Right.
So
she'll have to give a reading.
I don't think so.
Oh, I think so.
So Pidgin is a kind of fractured Hawaiian English. It's got both English and Hawaiian kind of mixed together, and words that are neither.
Yeah.
And so it's a unique way of speaking. And there's this little children's book that's just hilarious that Cindy gave to me to read. So, well, thank you for sharing these Christmas traditions from Hawaii.
Well, now I have to do a little more research on all the traditions that I know are out there, but that I've never availed myself of their dinner table. Merry Christmas to wherever this tape is going, and Mele Kaliki Maka. Hawaii is open for Christmas.
And so this is Cindy Moon and Bonny Meyer, DiVine Conversations. See you next time.